Cancer survivors, you're doing it all wrong. So let me help you. As a cancer researcher and cancer survivor, I've witnessed so many people doing so much research on their cancer diagnosis and treatment, only to come up with the completely incorrect conclusion. So if you're the type of person who likes to do your own research, this is for you. Because you probably already know that scrolling social media or plugging a question into PubMed is not really doing research. It's not going to get you a reliable answer. So instead, let's set you up for success. This is advice from a 16-year cancer researcher, starting with the first mistake, using only PubMed as your research strategy. This is one of the fastest ways to end up very confident and also very wrong. PubMed is an incredible tool. I use it all the time. But PubMed is not the entire world of evidence. Some scientific journals are not indexed in PubMed at all. This means that there are big pieces of literature that you simply won't find here. Some conference abstracts never become full papers. Some negative studies are harder to find. Some really important evidence lives within systematic reviews or clinical guidelines. Or there's even results shown in trial registries. Plus, a PubMed search strategy in and of itself is a skill. If you're typing in a keyword, scrolling the first page, and calling that research, well, it isn't really. You're actually just browsing. I learned this the hard way during my doctorate level training in cancer research. Not because I was careless, but because I wanted to go deeper. And that's when you realize it's really easy to miss the very important details. This really matters for cancer survivors and thrivers because the internet can make any topic seem settled, like there's a clear answer. But the truth is that there's not. Okay. But on to the second mistake, thinking scrolling social media is doing research. This is the most common mistake I see. And it's easy to make this mistake. We have a lot of really credible healthcare professionals on social media, but there are far many more that are not credible at all. It gives this illusion that when you read something, it's the truth, but it's not. If you're opening TikTok or YouTube or a Facebook group, scrolling through and calling that research, well, then I say this with love, it is not. This is not research. This is listening to influencers. This is content consumption. Algorithms on social media are not built to give you a balanced view. They're not built to give you all the evidence. They're built to keep you watching. What you want to see, you see more of. That's not unbiased research. If you pause on a video about sugar and cancer, then you'll see more videos about sugar and cancer. If you watch a clip about a supplement that kills cancer cells, your feed will be filled with similar claims. It starts to actually look like consensus, but it's not consensus. It's repetition. It's an echo chamber. But look, I completely understand the impulse to look on social media. As a stage 3 cancer survivor, I had this level of exhaustion that was so severe. It settled like in my bones. I would lie there just scrolling on my phone because it was something I could do. It felt productive. It felt like I was actually doing something to protect myself. But scrolling did not make me any safer. It made me more anxious. I see the same thing happen with so many women inside the Cancer Freedom Program. I kindly ask them to put their faith in me. I will do the research for you, so you don't have to. That way, you can spend your time doing what you love to do instead of researching cancer online. Now, research is structured. It's a question, a method, a framework, a appraisal process. Scrolling social is actually none of these. Now, you might like doing your own research, but can I also give you a shortcut? If you're interested, download this free guide, your A to Z guide to staying cancer-free. This is your step-by-step plan, proven strategies with proven research. These are the tools you absolutely want to be using. Plus, it's free. I'll link that below so you can get started ASAP. Okay, but on to the third mistake, reading one study and drawing a big conclusion. This happens constantly with nutrition and supplements. You find a study that says X reduces tumor growth, and it's a cell study, or a mouse study, or it's observational research. But then the headline turns into X kills cancer cells. But here's the truth. One study, that can be very interesting, but it rarely is the answer. Even within strong areas of medicine, a single study can be completely contradicted later. That's why we look for patterns across multiple studies, in different settings, in different research groups, and ideally with high quality design. You need to look at the entire body of evidence. It's like having a big bag of apples, and the first apple you pull out is rotten. So you decide every other apple is no good. But in actuality, only that one apple's rotten. So you've made a huge mistake. But look, when you're exhausted and you're scared, your brain pulls simple triggers. I remember that feeling vividly. During the treatment, fatigue wasn't just physical. It was cognitive too. Thinking felt really heavy. So the appeal of one powerful study and the promise it gives, well, that's really appealing. But in cancer care and when it comes to your life, we can't build out a strategy based on one data point. Okay, but on to the next. Skipping quality appraisal. This is a silent research mistake that makes weak evidence look really strong. Not all studies are created equal. So you have to ask, was it randomized or observational? How big was the study group? Was there enough events to trust the results? Was the outcome meaningful for cancer survivors, or was it just a lab marker? Was there a proper control group? Were the groups actually comparable at baseline? Was the effect clinically meaningful or just statistically significant but really tiny? And one of the hardest questions, do these results apply to a person like me? A supplement study in healthy adults does not necessarily mean it's going to work in cancer survivors or people who have gone through or who are in chemotherapy. A study in metastatic disease does not automatically apply to early stage cancer. A study showing compound effects on cancer cells in a petri dish doesn't necessarily mean it will behave the same inside the human body, because the human body is more complex than a petri dish. This is actually where professional training really matters. I spent years learning how to appraise scientific literature. And even then, I still consult with colleagues when a question is very complex. Okay, but on to the next mistake, and that's confusing association with causation. A huge amount of nutritional and lifestyle research is association. It's observational. That means it can tell us that two things are linked, but not necessarily that one causes the other. For example, people that eat more vegetables, they often have a lower risk of cancer, but they also have other health behaviors that also lower their risk of cancer. They exercise more, they drink less alcohol, they don't smoke, they have stronger support systems, and they regularly go to medical appointments. Then the more accurate headline would be vegetables are part of a healthy lifestyle that's been associated with lowering cancer risk. But that headline is not very interesting. Cancer biology is complex. Recovery is complex. Your body is not a simple switch. But on to the next mistake. Not defining your actual research question. This is where the strategy of a true cancer researcher comes into play. Saying I'm researching cancer is too broad. What are you actually trying to answer? Very specifically, are you trying to reduce the risk of recurrence of a certain subtype of cancer? Are you trying to manage the side effects of a specific hormone-suppressing agent? Are you trying to rebuild lean muscle mass after chemotherapy? And if so, what type of chemotherapy? Are you trying to improve bone density even though you're on hormone-suppressing agents? Or maybe you're just trying to calm the fear of a cancer recurrence cognitively. These are different questions and they require a different research method. When the question is really vague, You can consume so much information that actually doesn't apply to you at all. This causes confusion, not clarity. So without a defined research question and strategy, it's all just noise. Okay, but on to the next mistake, and this one you need to listen to. So if you're multitasking, stop and listen up. Thinking you can do this alone is the biggest mistake you can make. There are people who spend their entire careers researching cancer. People like me, medical librarians who design search strategies, epidemiologists who study patterns in populations, biostatisticians who are dedicated to properly analyzing data, guideline panels who weigh in on the harms and benefits carefully. Even clinicians and researchers who are deeply experienced still consult with their colleagues. A breast cancer survivor came to me with like dozens of tabs open on her computer. PubMed searches, supplement blogs, social media posts, conflicting information like everywhere. She had read one study, and that study suggested that a specific compound might reduce her risk of recurrence. Then another implied that it might interfere with her treatment. And then the third study actually it disagreed with both. She felt like she was failing if she couldn't sort this out herself. So we stepped back and we clarified her exact question. We anchored her in guideline-level recommendations first. Then we looked at the primary studies that were most relevant to her situation. The results was not perfection. The result was relief. She stopped making decisions because of panic, and she started making decisions grounded in framework. And this is exactly what support does. It protects your energy and your sanity. Okay, but if you're the type of person who absolutely likes to do their own research, then I would suggest you start here. You need to check this one out. These are the 2 foods that have absolutely been linked to increasing your risk of cancer. This is undisputable. Here's where the research is very strong. You absolutely want to tap into this. So I've linked the video up for you right here. Click the link here now, and I'll see you in that next video.